Okay, this is today's lesson on the distributive property and a real world application. A basketball team has 12 players. The team is buying new shorts and jerseys. The shorts cost Y dollars, the jerseys cost $7 more than the shorts. Write and simplify an expression that represents the cost of the new uniforms. So we have two different numbers here. We have 12 for 12 players. The shorts cost Y dollars and the jerseys cost $7 more than the shorts. So let's see what we can use with these. So we have 12, why the parentheses? So we have 12 and then the parentheses. Each player is getting a uniform. So how many players were there? There were 12 players. And then each uniform cost Y plus, or the shorts cost Y and the jerseys cost 7. So for 12 players, they each got one pair of shorts that were Y dollars and a jersey that was $7. So a basketball team has 12 players. The team is buying new shorts and jerseys. The shorts cost Y dollars. The jerseys cost $7 more than the shorts. Write and simplify an expression that represents the cost of the new uniform. So we have 12 and then in parentheses Y plus 7. And then remember, we need to distribute. And distribute is like we give that 12 to both the Y and the 7. We can't combine the Y and the 7 together. So we have 12 times Y plus 12 times 7 equals 12Y plus 84. Because the 12 times 7 is 84. And we can't combine the 12Y and the 84 together. So it says, can we add these together? Do they have the same caboose? No, they don't have the same caboose, so I can't combine them together. Okay, so our objectives for today. Use the distributive property to find products. Use the distributive property to simplify algebraic expressions. Solve real-life problems using the distributive property, such as finding the expressions for buying new basketball uniforms. So, definition. Distributive property is multiplying a sum or difference by a number. This means each number inside the parentheses is multiplied by the outside number. Two groups. So we have 3 and then A plus B. A and B of kids are getting 3 cookies each. So we have 3 and then we have times A. And then we have 3 times B. So then that would be, so if group A is 7 kids and group B is 4 kids, then we would have 3 times 7 plus 3 times 4. So distributive property is multiplying a sum or difference by a number. So if we go 4 times 9 plus 4 times 3, or this one would be A times B plus A times C. And this one would be 4 times 9 and then subtract 4 times 3. And then this last one would be A times B and then subtract A times C. Okay, so an example, use the distributive property and mental math to find 9 times 42. So 9 times 42, so this way equals 9, and then break this one up. So if I can pull, this way I'm looking for a factor that I can pull out. So I can pull 9 out of those. So then I wanted to say, what times 9 makes 42? So then I could have 40 plus 2. And that doesn't really, well, then we have 9 times 40, so, and then 9 times 2. So that can make it so it's easier in my mind to think about it. So 9 times 40 is 360, plus 9 times 2 is 18. So then together I can add those and it's 378. So use the distributive property in mental math to find 7 times 68. So if I broke it up into something easier to deal with, if I take 7, I could first of all times it by 60, and then plus 8. So 7 times 6 is 42, and then add the 0, it would be 420. And then 7 times 8 is 56. So then if I can add those two together, it would be 476. Okay, use the distributive property again in mental math to find 5 times 29. So again, I'm looking for what's the easiest thing I can take 5 by to get this. So 5 times 20 would be easier, and then do 5 times 9. So 5 times 20 would be 100, and then 5 times 9 would be 45. So that would be, then I can add those and it would be 145. Do you see how that's just an easier way to say, to multiply 5 times 29 instead of just trying to do 5 times 29 in our head? We can break it up into easier chunks to use. So let's try this one again. Use the distributive property in mental math to find 8 times 53. So the easiest number to pull out would be 50, and 8 times 50, or I can just think 8 times 5 and then add the 0. 8 times 5 would be 40, so 8 times 50 would be 400. And then 8 times 3 is 24, so then I can go 400 plus 24 is 424. And then let's try this one. Use the distributive property to get 13 times 33. So again, I could go 13 times 30, which 13 times 30 is 390. And then I can go the 13 times the 3, which is 39, and add those together to get 429. Okay, so distributive property is multiplying a sum or difference by a number. So if we have on here, we have 4, and then I can multiply it by 9, and then I can take 4 and multiply it by 3. This can also be applied to fractions. So if I have 3/4, I can multiply it by 2 and then by 2/3. So if I take the 3/4 and multiply that by 2, and then I can also take the 3/4 and multiply that by 2/3. So on the first one, if I change that into the 2 into a fraction, then I have 6/4, because 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 1 is 4. And then on the second one, I can cross out my 3's, and then I get 2/4. And now I can add those two together, and they have the same denominator, which would be 8/4. And we can reduce that by saying, how many times does 4 go into 8? And it goes into it 2 times. So another example. Use the distributive property to find 1/3 times 5 over 3/4. So again, we can take the 1/3, we can break that apart into 5 and then into 3/4. So we can take 1/3 times 5 and then 1/3 times 3/4. So if we take the 1/3 times the 5, we're going to turn the 5 into a fraction. So then we have 5 over 1. So 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 1 is 3. Now let's try the other one, and we can cross reduce the 3's, and then I just end up with 1 over 4. So now I have 5/3 plus 1/4, which I'm going to need to get a common denominator. So the least common multiple for both of those would be 12. So I have to multiply the 3 by 4 to get 12. So whatever I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top, which means I get 20 on the top. And then on the 4, I have to multiply it by 3. So whatever I do to the bottom, I'm going to do to the top, which ends up being 3 times 12. Now I can add those. So then I end up with 23 over 12. And then I can break that up into 12 over 12 would be 1, right? And then 11 over 12, so it'd be 1 and 11/12. And let's try one more. Use the distributive property to find 5/6 times 1 over 2/3. So again, let's take the 5/6, break it apart, times it by 1. and times it by 2/3. So 5/6 times 1 is just going to be 5/6, right? And then 5/6 times 2/3 is going to be 5/9. Now I can add those together, but I need to get a common denominator, which they both can go into 18. So to get 6 to 18, I multiply it by 3, so I have to do that to the top. So that would be 15 over 18. And then to get 9 to 18, I need to multiply it by 2. So whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top, and I will get 10. So then I have 25 over 18. Then I need to see how many times does 18 go into 25, and it goes into it once, and then there's 7/18 left over, so it will be 1 and 7/18. Okay, so now go ahead and watch the next Schmoot video, which is on distributed property, and then you'll be doing a Kahoot practice distributed property activity for today. Thanks.